So that's how Group C finishes. Nigeria finishing in there, up in second spot there. But as mentioned, they are one of the best second-place group teams now because of the goal difference, pushing out Burkina Faso in that table. Colin Udo is here, joining us on what is a big day. Nader Manu is still with us. Colin, have you got something to do with that fourth important goal for Nigeria? And if so, can you tell us what it is?
Was that from me or from Nader?
That's for you, Colin, because I hear you played a part in this.
Well, that goal was really important, but it did look for some minutes there that the players just were not aware that they needed a fourth goal, and I saw the goalkeeper kind of wasting time a little bit. So, I mean, I don't know if they knew or not, but I just kind of texted somebody on the bench. I said, "Hey, look, you know what? Please tell these guys that we need a fourth goal, and let's see how what happens." And so, whether that helped or not, I can't say, but it needed to be done, and it got done. We got the fourth goal, and in the end, that single goal was enough to get the Super Eagles to edge out Burkina Faso and move on to the playoffs.
Okay. All right. If Colin,
what is that for?
if Colin is going to take credit for this, he's also going to have to take responsibility for the fact that a couple of days ago he said, "I don't think Nigeria are going to do it. I don't believe that Nigeria are going to do it. I think Nigeria are going to come up short." That's what Colin told us a couple of days ago. Now he's taking credit for sending a text message?
Well, the reason the players didn't know they needed that goal is because they watched FC the other day when Colin was on.
Okay.
And everybody was confused. Nobody knew what was going on.
After Colin's explanation?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
yeah, nobody knew what to do.
Well, that might be a factor, but yeah, I mean, to be honest, I did not believe that they were going to make it. And in fairness, I was speaking to the NFF president after the game, and he said he was there at halftime in the dressing room, and he told them that he told Osimhen and the other that they needed to score 4 goals to make it through. So I think maybe he could have forgotten, but a little bit of reminding doesn't hurt anyone. I'm not taking the credit by any means. But in all honesty, I did not think Nigeria were going to make it. And look at it. They've gone through this entire qualifiers. They haven't scored more than 2 goals. They've drawn 3 games at home before this. And then they come out today and they play like they had the house on fire, which is exactly what they needed. So right now, I think they're in a good position to get all the way. If you look at the fixtures now, they play against Gabon in the playoffs, and then Cameroon play against the DRC. The winners of those games get to play against each other, and whoever wins that game goes to the Intercontinental playoffs, where they get to play against teams from OFC, CONCACAF, and it's probably going to be Jamaica and Panama there, and then of course there's going to be Bolivia. So it's a long way round. I'm still not sure they're going to make it all the way, but I'm going to start believing again.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a change in thought.
They played better when you didn't believe.
Okay, so maybe I should start believing again.
Nader, did you always believe, and did you play any part in Nigeria giving themselves a lifeline today?
I can confirm that I was like Colin and I didn't believe it at all. And if anything, I was trying to block all the numbers of my Ghanaian friends and other people from West Africa, just the continent of Africa in general, because the grief we were going to receive for not qualifying in a 48-team tournament was going to be crazy. And it's not to say that they've guaranteed their qualification now, but at least the hope is there. And I think it's a lesson, sometimes it's better to be lucky than to be good. But also, I think the stories that Colin's telling there for himself and the NFF president, I mean, could you imagine like the lead in the FA coming down to the dressing room for England saying, "Hey guys, you need to score more goals," or somebody say, "I'm going to text somebody on the bench," and it goes through. Like, these are all things that almost make African football at times one of the best things and one of the craziest things that you can imagine. But the fact is, as I say, they found a way to be in the playoff, which is huge. But as you guys have said, there's still so much football left to go. But ultimately, if you end up being the team that's lucky enough to be able to do it, then you can worry about the journey once you get there. Just try and celebrate the moment. But yeah, I wish it didn't need to be this way, because I think for me, a team like Nigeria, who were in the final of African Nations not too long ago, for them to end up drawing half of their games in a qualifying campaign, decides who you would expect them to beat, I think it's hugely disappointing. But thankfully, the story is not over yet, even though some people would probably argue that it should be.
No, not for Nigeria.
Can we give a shout out to Victor Osimhen, a player that would have been criticized as one of the players, big name players representing Nigeria, and in a game like this, whether Colin was involved or not, whether the Federation president was involved or not, they needed goals, and who do you look to? Well, it has to be Osimhen. He scores a hat trick. That is big-time players delivering in big-time moments. Where the pressure is on, he scores a hat-trick. Victor Osimhen, big time.
FC Extra Time, Victor Osimhen's hat-trick, or Colin Udo's text, which was more important?
Okay, well.
Victor Osimhen, no
right.
doubt
It's
about
up
it. Victor Osimhen all day, every day.
Colin, on the other side of things, great day for South Africa, bad day for Benin. Talk us through both of those teams and how they'll be feeling now.
Yeah, well, look, the only team in this group that had things in their own hands and not have to depend on anyone was Benin. All they had to do was win in Nigeria, but that was always going to be a tall task, for them to come to Nigeria and win. South Africa were in the best position because even though they had to depend on Nigeria to beat Benin for them to get through, they know all they have to do was win at home, and Nigeria would do the job because Nigeria still had everything to play for to get to the playoff places. So I guess South Africa were in the best possible position because Nigeria and Benin would cancel each other out, and then they could advance. And they did their job. I mean, they got there, scored 3 goals, and they made it through to the World Cup finals for the first time since they hosted it in 2010. And I think, with the way this group has gone, this has been the worst group in African qualifying. Nigeria slipped up, South Africa slipped up, Benin took advantage. So I think that for South Africa, it's joy for them returning to the World Cup. For Benin, they were punching above their weight. I sat down with Gennaro Roy, their coach, the night before the game, and we talked a lot about this. And he said, "Look, these boys have done a great job. They've punched above their weight. They never expected to be where they were. They started the qualifiers with 2 road games, and they're ending with 2 road games. So they're hoping that they can get the result and qualify. But if they don't, they would have done something that has never been done before in Benin football. And that's exactly what they've done. They've energized people in Benin Republic. And who knows, this is something that they might use as a foundation to do even greater things in the future."
Okay, Colin, thanks for being with us. It is now time to believe, okay? That's Group B. That's how things stand there. And more teams securing their spot in next year's World Cup.
Hey, it's a party. We're not invited.
Colin, talk to us about Senegal and the Ivory Coast securing the deal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that Senegal team is almost unfair. I mean, like, they're stacked from top to bottom. You look at that team and you think, how are they not even going to be in the running to win the World Cup? They're that good. I mean, they've got so many great players. So I have every confidence in Senegal. I'm happy they qualified, did so in some style. And, I guess my expectation is that if you look at the African teams going to the World Cup, Senegal are going to be there or thereabouts in terms of teams that are going to be making a splash over there. Ivory Coast are in a similar position, not as strong on a man-to-man basis as Senegal, but they've coasted practically through these qualifiers and shown that they also have what it takes to make a big splash at the World Cup. So some really, really good teams going in there for Africa. Senegal, Ivory Coast, Egypt. That's some really, really stacked teams going there.
Yeah, brilliant.
Colin just said that Senegal is going to win the World Cup. That's what I heard there.
Yeah, that's
I said.
that's kind of how I heard it too.
Well, Colin, we'll definitely have you back to talk about those groups. We obviously all need to know you to explain it for us, how
Yes,
it's all going to work from
absolutely.
here on out with what's left and what remains of CAF qualifying. We wait with bated breath. Colin, thank you so much for explaining
Thank you very
everything that's
much.
gone on today.
Thanks for having me.